Okay, now it's recording.
Hi everybody, welcome. This is the Bookish Duo in the same room. Which never happens.
Oh, we're in the same room, yeah.
Because we're usually like very different parts of the United States. We are here together and this is the first in a series of lives. Let me explain about that. So we need 50 subscribers to be able to do a live on
like a real live, like a live.
A portable live. Like we could do it on the computer, but it'd be too complicated to set up like a webcam and everything. Also, like we need to wait like 24 hours in advance for YouTube to be like approve us or whatever. So I decided to be like, screw it, to save our sanity, my editing sanity for everybody. I decided we're just gonna film this and we'll upload it like raw. Like, just right away. No editing.
Unedited film.
Unediting. Yeah. With no makeup. I mean, I'm wearing makeup.
She is.
You wearing makeup?
I was.
I mean, she was.
I don't know if it's still there. Because it's Sunday, so, church.
Yeah. Church clap. Let me hear you, church.
Okay. So, we had you guys submit questions, and we actually got a lot more responses than I thought we would.
Oh, yeah, on the blog. Only one on, YouTube, but I'm grateful. At least people saw and got the idea that there's going to be a Q&A.
Yeah, well, then we put, like, a form on the blog, so people who might have done it on YouTube went to the blog and did it on the form, which was frankly easier because then I compiled it.
Did you attach it to the comments?
What do you mean?
Never mind.
Okay.
Business talk for later.
Okay. So we're going to be answering your questions that you have about reading, writing, and then anything else.
Personal. We'll have to, let's bounce around.
Yeah. Okay.
Genres.
Sure. Let's start with the first reading question. Are there any books that have heavily influenced your writing or have motivated you to write?
You can go first if you want.
I can go first?
Or I'll go first.
When did I start writing? I felt like I started writing right before I read the Ascendant series. So
you've been writing before that.
Oh, okay. Well, I started serious writing before I read the Ascendant series.
That wasn't serious?
I just one day sat down and decided I wanted to be a writer, so it wasn't like there was, it's along the way that certain books I've read have,
influenced it. Yeah, for me, I guess, for way back when, it was definitely the Chronicles of Narnia, and that's what got me. You read my first, ever...
I read her first
book thing.
Well, she read it to me.
That's in the other room.
You made me read it.
Should I go get it? No, it's in the other room though. I brought the actual book.
You brought the notebook?
Yes, I brought the notebook.
That's amazing.
We're
gonna create another video where it's just us going through the notebook.
No. I should get it. Anyway, let's just keep. I'll wait. Also, a lot of books. Anytime I get a book, it rubs off on me. I would say one was definitely Lord of the Rings, because I love Lord of the Rings. Percy Jackson is definitely one, because the writing style in that is really fun.
The writing style is very fun.
And now that she's actually read it, she gets it. But should I actually go get that book? You keep talking about books that influenced you, I could get it. It's just in the other room.
Which other room? Oh, that room?
Yeah, in my suitcase.
I mean, I don't really
I'm gonna go get it.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Alright. Leave me in awkward silence.
Just keep talking about books that you like.
Let's see here. I really enjoyed S.D. Smith's Green Ember series. What else did I read? No, the Letter for the King, the one that they made into the terrible Netflix series. The Letter for the King, the original book, is actually really great, and I highly recommend it to anybody really who likes that genre.
Yeah, I thought of another one. Definitely the Wings of Fire series for me. Yeah, that's when I really got into more perspective writing, as well as the Lunar Chronicles. I could also say that.
When did I start reading those? It wasn't until a little
after
later.
me. We started at the same time, but this is my book, by the way, the first one.
Her illustrated. She illustrates her own novels.
Okay, let's move on. Can I read the next one now?
I'm sure it's good.
Here, actually, go to writing.
Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna highlight the questions with the answer. All my big highlighters. All right.
Okay, writing. How long have you been writing?
Sometimes
for me, it's been, I think I've written short stuff before, but when I was 9, that's when I really started writing, because at first your girl didn't want to write at all, because I just found out I had dyslexia, and so stuff like reading and writing was harder for me, and so I'm why would I want to do that? But I loved telling stories, and earlier that actually really bothered me because of my love for telling stories. That's what I would do all day. I didn't play with my toys as much as other kids did, but I had a bunch of toys. And so one day I went up to this like little kid who was my friend's like younger brother. I'm like, you need to pray for me. I don't play with my toys. All I do is tell stories. He's like, you want to be a storyteller? I'm like, no, ew, no, ew, gross. And he's like, well then play with your toys. And I've tried to prove him wrong, but I am a storyteller. And so I started writing this bad boy when I was 9. It took me several years. I didn't finish it because I wanted to kill off the villain, but then I watched shows like the Justice League and Narnia, and like killing the villain was kind of bad morally apparently, so I didn't end up. I was this close though to finishing it. My mom wrote it down to me. I dictated it to her. She has nice handwriting. That handwriting's not mine.
I know.
Okay, what about you?
I remember being so excited reading that book and being like, oh, the handwriting looks amazing. Because we were 9 years old, so our handwriting was terrible. But, yeah. The question. How long have we been writing? I don't remember what year it was. It was probably 17 or 18, 2017 or 2018. I started writing a lot, and I just decided I wanted to be a writer. I put together a binder full of information. I tried plotting, that didn't work. I tried a lot of things that didn't work because I didn't know what I was doing.
That's how you learn.
Yeah, it was. So now I know what I'm doing. Well,
we're complete opposites, though. I'm a plotter. She's a pantser. We've tried projects together. We'll talk more about that later. But like we've done that, and like sometimes we'll like stop, and then she'll be like, "Oh, Sarah, I just made up this organization," and I'll be like, "Louise, like, we have to rewrite this whole thing."
Make things up, and she would be like, "Oh, Louise, now the whole plot is.
This is a new main character you just made."
Yeah.
Okay, let's do anything else.
Anything else? The first question is. No, I didn't. The first question is, what is the hardest math problem you've ever had to solve?
No math problems you specifically put it in that.
I put it. Oh well, that's not like online. Like I changed it on here because I just copy and pasted.
Mm-hmm.
No, copy and pasted the answers. From there on a new sheet. The question was, ask us anything but math questions. So what's the hardest math problem you've ever had to solve?
That is a math question.
So we don't answer that. Right.
Okay, well just move on to another question about genre.
Okay. What are your favorite book genres to read?
I read a lot. I like get in different moods. I love dystopian fantasy. I get into sci-fi sometimes, though dystopia can sort of like, I love urban fantasy. I've been getting into contemporary, especially contemporary novels with like, for some reason I've been really into like novels with like an Asian cast. In them. I don't know, especially like if it's a K-pop novel. I've really gotten into those. But I also like, more recently, I've gotten into biographies of like missionaries and stuff. But I like a lot of genres. Yeah, I'll tell you about that later. But like, I love a whole bunch of genres. I write in a whole bunch of genres, so I really dip my fingers into other things a lot.
Yeah, double dips all the time. No. Okay, so I really like fantasy, action, adventure type. Mysteries. I love mysteries. A good mystery. It's probably why I love like Psych and Leverage and all these other, because it's all
Leverage
like, how's it gonna end up, like, who did it, where, when.
Leverage is a great show, honestly, to watch if you're a writer, because it really has some good plotting, like stuff you can learn from it.
Things you can learn from.
But also Psych's funny too.
Yeah.
Drop the cone, Gus! I'm not dropping the cone! I'm not dropping the cone!
Okay.
As these two men are running from their life.
Like, I paid for this ice cream cone. I'm gonna eat it. Okay, so what is something you learned in your writing journey that you would tell aspiring writers?
Okay, the best way to learn to write is to read lots of books and to write. That's the best. Don't take, like, you can take a class if you want, like, totally if you feel like you need to. But this is what I've
never taken a class.
I mean, we watched a lot of like writers' videos, like Abby.
That's true.
We watched a lot of Abby.
You can really self-educate on topics like this.
Abby Emmons. Watch Abby Emmons. She has some very good tips and tricks up her sleeves that she can like show you. She has a YouTube channel, so just go check her out. And her book's really good. So what I've read of it. But just write, and even if your first draft is crappy, pardon my language, I just keep writing, just keep doing it. It's all about persistence. That's what get you. That's where you. That's how you get to places in life.
Yeah.
Words escape me.
Be persistent. I mean, I don't really have anything to add to that. That's pretty much.
Yeah. We got
What I
an
would say.
anything else question.
This one.
Oh, I don't know what to put. So there was one that was squiggled out a question. I'm like, what? But
She sent a test question through to make sure the form worked. So that's what that was.
I was like wondering, like, or whatever. I don't. Okay. Anyway,
Somebody asked us if we did have camouflage unicorns.
Who sent these? Anyway, who is your favorite character from Lord of the Rings? Louise, what is the most embarrassing memory? Okay, how about we start
Let's start with the Lord of the Rings.
That's hard because I love so many of them. I love Merry and Pippin. Those are like, my favorite hobbits. Though Frodo and Sam are amazing too. I also love, this question's aimed at me because you have not read those books yet. Bilbo's amazing.
Movies.
Strider, I love Strider. Legolas,
Strider was great. That was like
you don't know.
Leviticus, just, and I didn't
How
even
do you-
know. Well, because I watched the first movie and a half before I read the books.
Well,
I
you
haven't
have to
read
read
the
the. You have to read the Hobbit. Then you have to read the. Everyone, go in the comments and just tell her. Anyway, I love Legolas. I love Gandalf. Gandalf is amazing.
Gandalf
Also,
is
I love
down
Eowyn.
my favorite.
Oh, Gandalf's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Eowyn and I love Faramir. I hate what they did to him in the movies. Faramir is amazing, and Eowyn, I totally love that couple. There's just so many good characters. The king of Mary becomes a knight for that king or something. I love that character. I love just so many. Honestly, it's just hard to name one. Let's keep reading, and then like.
Oh, keep reading. Anything else you like those better?
Yeah, well, because like there's one for you.
Oh.
Okay, Louise, what is the most embarrassing memory you have of Sarah?
I don't know. There's
Right
so
up the
many.
one-
Honestly.
Our class and opera.
Oh.
When I did at our.
That seems a little touchy.
It's fine.
Well, okay.
I'm over it, kind of, sort of. It still has a wound in my heart. Anyway, just go on. Go on.
The one from art class. And the, Hear Through Walls.
Yes. Okay, just tell them the story.
Okay, so we took an art class way back when, and, how long was it? It wasn't that long, but, you know, kids have to go to the bathroom. What they didn't know was that...
We also had to, like, back then the art class was in this building, and
yeah.
we had to wash our brushes and wash our hands in the same place we did the bathroom.
Like, the bathroom was, like, it had the sink, and that was the sink you used.
Yeah, it was an amazing art class. I took it longer than she did because I'm more artistically inclined and I'm loyal. But it moved into a different building, so that's cool. But anyway, back to the story.
Back to the story. None of the kids knew that you could hear, sounds really weird. You could hear, if they were, like, talking to themselves. And we were young, so kids still talk to themselves naturally. So she was singing opera.
I was into like opera and like I was into like classical and like older music.
She was going through a phase.
I was into Mozart and Beethoven and Bach and all those like people.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that's my most embarrassing memory because I kind of forgot about that.
Well, yeah,
so
but I just had to supply. You looked lost, so I had to supply.
I did. Like, I don't know what you do that's embarrassing. Like,
I think we've just like loved each other and known each other so much that we can be embarrassing around each other and we don't
we don't consider it embarrassing.
But I think that same question's to me. Twy, what is the most embarrassing memory you have of Louise? Did you notice the way I spelled her name? I spell her name like that though.
I can't spell
is
it
that
right.
Wrong? Have I been? Never mind.
Dyslexia is getting to her.
Memory of Louise. Oh, okay. So this is kind of embarrassing for her, and it's become a running joke. So this is several years ago. We were at this summer camp. Me and her.
Oh.
Like I would go. Her church would do a summer camp, and I would go with her. And one year, I pulled two of our friends, who are sisters, to come with us. And so we're sitting. It's like morning, like the morning service that we have. And
It was
Louise
morning
is
session on like
tired.
the last day.
Oh yeah, and we
of
had stayed up
summer
late
camp.
before because we always
So-
stay up late at summer camp, and so she's in like I'm not sitting in the same row as her. I'm like sitting like I'm here, and she and the girls are here. Not because they were excluding me, but because I don't know how that ended up happening.
Like we were just.
I just wanted
oh.
to sit in the shade. I didn't want the sun blaring in my eyes because it was in an amphitheater like place. But anyway, she is like dozing off, and the guy like the teacher, he was.
I wasn't sleeping. I promise.
She was just kind of like out of it, and the teacher pauses, and someone sneezes, and she says kind of loudly, "God bless you." And I didn't even hear that. I just hear my two friends start giggling like in the front, and now that's like our joke. And
I
I
get it
said
in
that
birthday
like
cards.
yes, God bless you.
It's like thank you guys. for that.
Okay, yeah, we can go on
Okay.
to reading.
Yeah, back to reading. So who's your favorite author?
I have many. I did a whole video on this.
Oh.
A whole top 10 favorite authors, but I love like Rick Riordan's amazing, Marissa Myers, Justin and Kat Cho. I like her. I don't know her. June Her. I've become a huge fan of June Her. Her books are amazing. Also, Axio is a good one. What was I going to say? Neil Shusterman's one that I like. I also like. He's the one who wrote The Maze Runner. James Dashner. How could I forget that? Abby Emmons is pretty good. I've only read bits of one of her books.
Only bits,
Also,
you're like all the way
Well,
through.
I haven't finished it yet. And J.R.R. Tolkien is amazing, of course. I love so many.
Yeah, I have to agree. Well, not with most of those authors because I've never read a good portion of them. I'm like
Also,
I
I
have a bunch
love
here.
Brandon Mull. You love Jennifer Nielsen.
I do. Honestly, the Ascendant series is one of the best series I've ever read. And then like the
S.D. Smith from the Grand Emperor series.
no Percy Jackson series is like
Very
very similar to the Ascendant series, but it's
they
like
both have the snarky.
futuristic.
We
like-
need Prince Jaren and Percy Jackson. I
I
just
think their
spoil
names
stuff.
even sound.
Oh my
similar.
gosh, they need to have like a collab like book. Like somebody
Yeah.
write that fan fiction somebody where those two just characters get placed in the same room.
Yeah.
Like that would be hilarious because they're both so snarky and funny. But
yeah, so Jennifer Nielsen, S.D. Smith, what's that other lady? Oh, Nadine Brands.
oh, that was good.
Romanov and Fox were really, really good. I really love Romanov.
Oh yeah,
especially.
Fox. I've only read Fox of hers, which yeah, that was
Romanov
good.
is really good. Like
yeah,
it's
that's
the
on my
best
list.
one.
I'm definitely gonna read that.
I even love how pretty the cover is.
I know it
It's
is.
beautiful. It's just.
Natasha Romanov.
I don't think that was her name.
I know. I'm just it was Romanov, but it could have been Roman. I don't know. Natasha.
Okay, so we should probably do some more of these questions since we're like, I don't know how long it's been. 17 minutes.
We could do a part 2.
We
Like
totally
we could
do
just
part
upload
2.
it. Like it'll take a few hours actually to upload it, but we could do a part 2 of the Q&A if we need to. Just saying.
I'm gonna edit like shorts.
We're not going to do that.
No, like to republish.
You don't understand. I'll explain this later.
Okay.
We can't do that.
Okay. All right. What book have you reread the most?
We read the most Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings trilogy. I've listened to those on audiobooks so many times. But after that, I would say the Andari Chronicles and the Four Kingdoms, Beyond the Four Kingdoms series.
Really? Those are
Yeah.
your most reread?
I listen to them on audiobook. I
Huh.
don't really reread books that much. Like sometimes if
Yeah.
I'm in a mood, I'll read parts of it, especially if, like, but I'll just like listen to it, and it's like comfort books for me, and I'll just do stuff as I'm listening to it. Definitely though, I can definitely quote parts of Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit when it like comes up in the audiobook, but I just reread those.
I can do that with Jonathan Park.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Park.
I've probably Chronicles of Narnia. Probably. I would just play
yeah.
them. Whenever I got sick too as a kid, I would just like sit there and put headphones into the stereo and just listen to them. So like I would just listen. I think the Horse and His Boy was probably my favorite out of
Oh,
all
that's
of
a good
those books. The Horse and His Boy. That is yeah.
We were obsessed with the Voyage of the Dawn Treader movie for a while.
Oh yeah, those movies.
We loved it.
I
One time
personally
I
like
rewatched
movies.
the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and like I wanted to go to the woods because we're like close, like in the city, like there's a like a woody area that we're close to, and I wanted to like go in there just like with my sword, a cloak, and listen like to the track of like the Narnia movies and just like pretend I'm in Narnia. And the next day I'll go there and be like a Lord of the Rings person with that track, because those are both very good like instrumentals. that are played in those.
To say if you need something to write to, go to the Narnia soundtrack. Okay.
Or Lord of the Rings.
Or Lord of the Rings. What's the latest book you've read?
That I finished?
Like that you've been reading.
Been reading. I'm reading 100 Days of Sunlight by Abby Emmons, but I recently finished this book called Gladys Aylward, A Journey Like No Other. No, The Adventure of a Lifetime, which is part of a missionary. It's called Christian Heroes Then and Now, which is mostly about missionaries, people who spread the gospel and done stuff. And she went to China. It was a really cool book. I listened to it, and I started like the next book in the series called Nate Saint or whatever. But those are the two I'm reading now, I guess you could say.
Okay. The last book I've been reading, I guess this is the latest book you've read. I don't know. Tense is messing me up. The last book in the Percy Jackson series. What's that called?
The Last Olympian?
The Last Olympian. I don't remember where I am in it.
Oh, it's good.
But it's the last book in the Percy Jackson series, which
Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. There are more with Percy in it.
Oh.
And
Percy Jackson and the Lightning
Thief. Well,
It's
it's
the
the
first
first one. Anyway, we're going off track.
Anyway,
let's go to
That's
the
the
next.
last book. So what's your top favorite series? Yes, only one. Why? What is your favorite trope? What would you like to see more in fiction?
Let's just stop, Emma. Just go one question by one.
And just go. Okay, so what is your top favorite series? Hands down, top favorite series.
You go first.
No backsies. Let's think about this. I'm gonna say the Green Ember.
Of course you would.
I'm gonna say
Top favorite. I'm just gonna choose one of the series that I love because I can't choose a top favorite. I would definitely say the Fablehaven series because I really loved that. And Brandon Mull's such a good writer with that, and I have yet to finish the Dragon Watch series. There's just one more book I haven't finished, but I love Fablehaven.
the last book is always the worst. It's like that little long stretch, like you're almost there, and you still haven't read it.
Well, the thing is, I haven't bought it yet.
Oh, I see.
But it's a good series, Fablehaven. More people need to read that. But what's next in that?
So what is your favorite trope? I have to say my favorite trope would be the trio. Like the three guys who are just like best buddies and they're just always hanging out. And they're just like, they got each other's back. They're hilarious. They're very easy to write too, compared to other tropes.
For me, it would be Found Family. And I love how it comes about. I love it like when these characters are like, it's a book and there's a bunch of like 6 or like 5 characters and they all come from very different backgrounds and it's super like, they're so different from each other, but they come, like Found Family is amazing to write.
I should write a Found Family novel. Okay, what would you like to see more in fiction?
Honestly, I would just want to see more good romance, but also I want to see more people write church like stuff, like Christianity things into books,
like real Christian novels?
Like we
not
always
like the fake stuff that you
because like we never come across that. Like maybe the kids like the only like in media the only religion that's portrayed good that has anything to do with Christ is Catholicism, that I've noticed, because we always see like priests and like Catholic stuff in movies and that's portrayed better, even though sometimes it's not portrayed as well. But anytime I've come across movies that like portrayed Christians in a horrible light, and I've really hated that. And so I would want to see more of that in fiction, and we're going to put more of that in fiction.
Yeah, I would add to that a lot of times in fiction it's just like Christianity is just another religion that people are a part of. And so it makes it seem a little less real because it's like, oh, it's just something that they do. And it's just mentioned.
Even if like it's not like and then one of the work in progresses I'm working now, like it's not directly mentioned, but a lot. But it's like assumed the characters have a lot of the morals, and they grew up in a family like that, and they like think about stuff sometimes, and it's not like they don't. They will pursue God, but and it's not exactly followed closely in the book. Just but they do. They've gone to church. They'll think about like going to youth group, say, or like God gave me this gift, or like we support these missionaries, and it's important to do that because, or like they'll have morals, and I just like to see stuff like that more portrayed more accurately. Just it's another normal thing of like going to school, but like write about like going to church, like, and the funny stuff that can happen at church because there are quite a few adventures that can happen on Sunday morning.
On Sunday mornings. It's true. Yeah,
just behind the scenes, this by itself is so fun.
Just writing truth into your novel is like, I mean,
can I get an amen?
Amen. All right. So, what is one story you would never recommend? I have a couple for this one.
Oh, you can go first then.
Okay. I read a story for school about some man who sold his soul to the devil or something. Like, there were a lot of those stories written by, like, these great authors that were kind of just disturbing. And I remember looking at my mom like, this is a weird story. And she's like, oh, what's it about? And I explained it to her, and she's like, oh, like, you don't have to read that. Because it was just, like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just weird. Like, why would the author...
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, I get writing about something to, like, portray it in a certain light, but it was just confusing. Like, you didn't know what the author wanted you to think. Like, it wasn't portrayed in a good or bad light. It was just, like, this nice little meeting where you didn't know what was going on.
Okay, one story. I'm going to do a story that I've actually read, and it's called The Sound of Stars. It had such a beautiful, pretty color. But I really, I didn't finish that one because, I mean, there was language, and now I read books where there is language, and I'm kind of just like, okay, fine, I'll just, let it be. But that back then, I didn't like that as much in books. But also, there was just a lot of stuff, in the way the characters thought, the characters kind of had a Black Lives Matter kind of vibe to them, very liberal stuff that I just really didn't like reading about, and, it was just so I didn't like that agenda and all that I could just see brewing beneath the surface.
Sometimes you could just you pick up a book, you could just tell,
you smell
nope, you're going back on the shelf.
I'm just kidding.
I would also never recommend reading the Epic of Gilgamesh unless you're in for something like that. I had to read that for school, and the Code of Hammurabi, which was just a bunch of laws, but I would recommend it as a story for you to be like, oh, I enjoyed reading this.
Yeah, you guys can read what you want. You can make your own choices, but this is just our wise words. Be careful what you consume.
It's true, yeah. Okay, so last question for part 1.
Yeah. I'll upload this.
How about we end on an anything else question?
Yeah.
So how did you two meet, and how long have you been best friends?
Okay, so we don't remember when we met because we grew up in the same church until I was 9, and then
we met
each
other when we were babies.
Time. Yeah, we were in the nursery. Our moms the first time they met was when they were feeding us in the church's quiet room, and that's when they met, and they started walking together. But we probably met before then because of nursery. This is when they met when I was 3 weeks old. You were 1 week old, and so we just always knew each other. We were just always best friends, and our families are good friends too. We were always coming over to each other's houses. I was practically raised at her house. She was practically raised at mine. So, we were just always going. We also had another friend who was kind of our best friend. We've lost touch since, but she's a childhood friend to us, and our family was close with her family too. We'd just all 3 of us. We'd go to each other's houses. We'd swim at each other's pools. Well, only she had a pool, but
she was the only one who had a pool.
We babysit each other's dogs. We one time we were using our other best friend's pool while they were on vacation, and we set our dads just set up their playground, their treehouse equipment stuff.
Wait, they set that up?
Yeah, we were swimming. They just finished it. I think. I don't know if they did the whole thing. They just did the roof at least. But we were just always best friends. And we did lose touch for like about a year when you moved that first time because I
Because
remember
we didn't
never
have
really
like cell
talked any.
phones or anything, so
Yeah.
we couldn't keep in touch.
Once we got better though, and once like we got phones, well, yeah, we were able to like text more. And then she moved back to California for a while, and then she moved like with her family. She went with them. She went to Ohio again, and so, and we've always been besties.
Yeah.
My girl.
Yeah, so
Forever.
it's like the other half.
Best friends forever. She's Linda. I'm Heather. Best friends. If you have not watched Living Out,
If you get that comment, you belong here.
we've always been besties. We don't plan on changing that. We made a channel, so we kind of had a commitment.
We're kind of stuck now. Like,
Yeah, we.
if
kind
she
of are.
decided
and also
she didn't
like
like
our
me,
parents
like-
are best friends too.
so that
and our
does help.
our families are friends, and so like if we were like to cut contact with each other, our parents would be like, "Yo,
Like,
why
why didn't you text them yet?
are you doing this?" and stuff. But like, I don't know. We don't plan on changing our best friends. We won't let a man get in the way. I will kick the man out. Her man, not mine. Like I'm keeping mine, but like nothing gets in the way of us.
Yeah. I feel like it's something that's good to explain because I guess a lot of people probably think that like we just met like maybe like a couple years ago.
Yeah, we just met.
You see
like,
people
she
and they're
was-
like, "Oh, we're best friends. Oh, when'd you meet? I met last month," and you're just like, "Oh, okay."
or like we met a year ago or whatever, but we've just known each other all our lives,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. I guess we're sisters.
We're sisters. All right.
I feel
Well,
like yeah.
on
So
that lovely note,
that's
has it been 31 minutes?
yeah
21
about that.
minutes.
I'll upload this, and maybe
I
we'll be
can't
able to do it again today if other
Maybe.
people
Yeah.
who occupy the space don't come back.
Yeah. Well, it was great to talk to you guys and to answer your questions. And we didn't even get through like half the questions.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be seeing us
There are
a
so
lot
many
this
questions.
week.
Thank you guys for submitting all those questions. So you're going to be seeing a lot of us. And yeah. So thanks for hanging out.
Remember, Jesus loves you, and always stick close to your best friends.
Do you want me to do that little juke thing?
Sure.